Hello everybody, Darren here, and welcome back to FROSTPUNK 2. Now in the previous episode we got ourselves familiar with the new mechanics of the game and set up the basics for our city. So far, everything's going pretty well, with pretty much all of our demands met, but temperature drops loom on the horizon, and we know that our coal deposits are finite, so we're still seeking to expand, grow, and set up new colonies in the Frostland, all the while managing our internal affairs and political infighting. So, let's begin. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, just as we're loading in here and we have this beautiful young woman's face to stare at, she actually looks like the razor-wielding girl from the previous episode. Just thought it was an interesting little lore tidbit down here. Heat stamps were introduced after the Great Storm to regulate access to heat. Now they've grown into an official currency for the city. There was also another interesting one here. Even during the whiteout years, small groups of people started leaving cities and wander the Frostland. Rarely, and with difficulty, some people settle in different settlements. Let's begin. Alright, so, we're hopping back in right where we left off. We need to do a bit of a sit rep, but I'm pretty sure I've left us in pretty good hands here, actually, from the previous episode. We've just completed our mechanized sawmill, a new building that was proposed by the machinists, so they're going to be happy about that, although we haven't actually built it yet. So, over on the left-hand side of the screen, we have pass any law in the outsiders category. That's to do with immigration. We were finding a new source of fuel, so everything is in really good order, except for coal. We're currently losing coal. We're drawing from our stockpile just a little bit. Now, we've just completed our first trail out to a sort of coal deposit that was out here. So the meager coal mine, that's going to bring us in 200 out of a total 168,000. So we're going to construct that, but it will require 10 Frostland teams to be constantly there, bringing the stuff back and forth on that trail that we just constructed. So we should see that kind of getting activated now once it's built. And that should, yeah, there we go, instantly. It's actually super quick. So 200 from the meager coal mine, which means we are now stockpiling. And the stockpile is actually going to be filled in 12 weeks. Right, so if we have a look at our weeks up in the top right, we're currently at week 81. So in about 10, or rather 19 weeks, the temperature is going to drop. We're going to hit our stockpile in 12. Maybe we should build a stockpile building then, so that we can store up even more and get ready for the temperature drop, because we may end up consuming more, depending on how bad the drop is, might end up consuming more fuel than we're bringing in again. You know, we're just trying to keep ahead of the problem, I guess. Now, in order to do that, we need 150 heat stamps. We only have 122. So while we're waiting for money to come back up, what we can do is address the problem of immigration. So, we'll open up our council, the economy section, and the outsiders. We have two options, well really three if we wanted to keep things just the way they are. Population growth is slightly decreased and crime is slightly increased without any common rules. But we can choose to say that we're going to allow the productive outsiders to come in. It's a small step towards merit. You know, those who earn their way can come into our city. So population growth is marginally increased, but we actually get a little bit of money, right? Heat stamps income per capita is marginally increased as well. Or we can go towards equality and say, regardless of what you're capable of, you're allowed to come into the city. Population growth is increased more greatly that way. Now, you do get money from people just being there, so maybe the increase offsets that? I don't know. Should we just go with the equality one? Just for the fun, hell of it? What could go wrong? Let's see what happens. Right, so, you know what, I don't have strong feelings either way about this. I would personally lean a little bit more towards merit given this situation. I'm going to go with this option here, but just vote regularly without pushing them either way and see what happens. Accepting all outsiders, because I feel like we are just low on people.
The proposed law has been approved.
Alright, the law was passed. 58 people were for it. Trust has risen. Outsiders' law has been regulated. You kept your promise and evaded unnecessary chaos in the city. Now, something else I had meant to showcase that I forgot to talk about in the previous episode was inside of the council. You've got a full 3D room that you can kind of navigate here. Now, the council's in recess, so not many people are sitting in here. But something kind of interesting is you can actually zoom all the way down and in, and then you can actually click people to see who they are. So we have Otto Stratford here, a tanner, part of the foragers group, briefly lived in India as a child, holds his breath when he passes the generator, and readily believes misinformation if it's spoken quickly. Well, I'd have a good time convincing him of anything then. But I just thought it was quite interesting. You can kind of navigate through people. When we fill up the chamber again, maybe we'll have a look at some other people from the different groups. Right now, we've actually just got the foragers into a favorable relation state, which is nice. If we click them, we can now we can get money back from them. So request funds, you get 246 heat stamps, but it significantly worsens our relationship with them. We kind of do need the heat stamps, so maybe we should cash that in, because it seems to fall over time anyway. Right, so we have 137. You know what? Let's do it. If we built them up, let's do it. Alright, 246 heat stamps have been donated by the foragers. Appreciate it. More funds, I suppose, they say. Now, that's so generous of them to donate, says a machinist. Yeah, indeed. Right, so with that, we've got two things that we need to do, really. We need to build that stockpile, but we also need to get another logistics station set up, because our teams are busy out there bringing in the coal, and that's not infinite. We're going to run out, so we need to kind of find another one. And obviously, we're ultimately looking for a fuel source outside the city, which, spoiler, I don't know what it is, but the trailers suggest it's oil, and we're obviously looking for that. So I haven't actually seen it in-game is what I mean by I don't know what it is. I don't know where it is, I should say. So we're going to be looking for that. Right, so anyways, what we're going to do, get our frost-breaking teams. Oh my god. We don't have enough workforce to actually utilize it right now. How interesting is that? We can't expand our territory just yet. Although, with that population growth law, we are progressing towards a little population growth spurt. So that's something. Now what we could do, seeing as food is... No, that's a bit too risky. What are we building up? We could turn off coal, get the workforce back, and then get building. Seems to kind of defeat the purpose. Alright, I'll tell you what, let's just get that building going. I'm doing what it said we shouldn't do, which is hesitating. Right, we'll go with a fuel depot. I'm going to place it into the extraction district up here. Just like that. So extra storage. So fuel should go up to 60,000 stockpile, I think. So we might be able to store a little over 30 by the time the temperature drops, depending on, I guess, when that gets done. Or at least be prepared. The temperature will come back up and then again, down again, so maybe we'll fill it. Oh, alright. So yeah, we just need more people in the city. So we'll speed up time, let that building get done. We've got an event. William Hoff, 37, a hunter, a new voice, the Icebloods. I doubted children could still learn to revere their elders, yet here my children tend dutifully to my needs. Maybe now we can make the city better in other ways too. A place that survives and thrives through adaptation. A city where competition and rivalry is our engine. Oh, how beautiful the city could become. So the Icebloods form in support of the family apprenticeship that we passed a while back. There we go. We have our first factional group appearing in the city. Hardened survivalists. They recruit from the most resilient and capable individuals in the city. This is their manifest. Number 1, adaptation. It's a harsh world and only the fittest survive. We must embrace adaptation, fostering resilience in the face of adversity. 2, merit. Resourcefulness should be rewarded. We must praise personal achievement and reward individual merit. And 3, tradition. We preserve because we honor tradition. This is how we should build our society. They seek to pass 3 types of laws. Durable goods, allow productive outsiders, and ceremonial funerals. So we've already just not done that one. We have allowed anyone to come in. The funerals we could maybe give into, or the durable goods. We'll have to see what the trade-offs are. In fact, let's check that out now, because I'm quite curious. Right, so on the goods side of things, we already have mass-produced goods passed, so we're probably not going to repeal that, but we could if we really needed to appease them. The other one then would be in the economy section, outsiders. We obviously just went through that, right? We're allowing everybody right now, accepting all outsiders. We could switch it to just the merit-based people coming in, or funerals is the other one. They want ceremonial funerals, which basically means that relatives must be allowed to mourn with dignity, so we don't touch them after they're buried. But we could have harvesting funerals, where their healthy body parts are used to support the city healthcare. Disease is slightly decreased, research speed is increased. Trust loss from death is decreased, though, with ceremonial funerals. Interesting. Decisions. I don't know. I'm stun-locked by choices like this. I sort of make the choices like based on who needs what at the time, I guess. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. When's this temperature drop about to happen? We're on week 88, so still got a little bit of time. Now, we still have the research tree. We got to think about what's coming next. Perhaps goods factories. That's one of the things that we don't really have working for us at the moment. We're slightly unfulfilling the amount of goods. And if the population is to increase with more housing and stuff, we're not going to be really able to meet that demand. The other one, though, would be logistics bays. What could we get here? Vanguard Logistics Bay. Automated Logistics Bay. So between the two, 600 workforce requirements. You get 15 teams output, or you get 10 teams output. An additional 10 teams if you build this building. Develop the idea for 50. I don't want to commit to anything just yet. Alright, we'll just let time play. Alright, we have another event. Max Horkheimer, 29, a researcher, looks at the Icebloods members leaving the Institute. They keep looking at my hands. Every day they come and pester me about my work. What are you doing right now? Can we push the other research along? Why are you halting the drafting of the law we discussed yesterday? They want to influence what we do. Icebloods. Anyway. Right. So Icebloods want to steer the city closer to their ideals. Okay. This is just a general tension between some of the people there. So people at the Research Institute, which is why it pointed me to over that area. That's where it is. I guess some of the Icebloods are walking out. Perhaps. Right, so I am sort of stun-locked just waiting around a bit. That's because we have 0 workforce right now. Money is building up, but I'm waiting for the population to tick over. It's at 99%, so any day now, we should get a batch of people that have arrived into the city. I'm hoping then we can do some frost breaking and kind of get the second logistics station set up. Perhaps even go for more food and build some extra houses. Alright, 1,621 more people have joined us. The city grows. Stewart, a new count has revealed significant growth in our population in recent weeks. Some attribute it to the rise... Some attribute the rise to an influx of settlers from the Frostland, others to births outnumbering deaths. Whatever the cause, we've adjusted our calculations of the city's needs to reflect these new numbers. I see. So that's going to be 1,040 extra workforce, but now we're lacking a lot more food and we're lacking a lot more goods. Coal is still okay until that temperature drops, I would imagine. So I'll tell you what, we'll go with the food first, because that's going to be a more pressing concern. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. 8 little tiles out there for our fertile ground. The next bit of expansion can go straight out this way. Damn, I don't know if you can cancel that, because actually it just committed to it right at the end, and I don't know if I actually covered the specific tile I needed to. I think I might have been short. But it'd be okay, we can actually expand over this one anyway, so I guess that's fine. But it wasn't intentional. Not fully intentional anyway. Alright, so we're expanding in those 2 places. We did get the building that could be placed in here, right? The extraction building. The mechanized sawmill. So 300 workforce, 80 heat stamps. A big demand for heat, actually, 60. Squalor is significantly increased, but we get a lot more materials. But I think I'm okay. We're not stockpiling anymore. Oh yeah, we're 20 short now. And with the new districts, we probably will need it. Okay, then get that in there too. Alright. 3 lots of growth right now. So expanding the materials output, building, clearing the ground for a food district, and clearing the ground for a logistics district. That's what we got going on right now. Speed it up just a little bit. Alright, so the 2 districts are available. So we'll go with the food one first. Seems more important. So there's our food deposit. I'm going to build out this way because it does say that there's a squalor increase if we get closer to the extraction. So we'll go out this side. Build on the hill. I can't imagine terrain up there is really that fertile, but okay. Who am I to tell them? Next one would be the logistics district, but I think we're already basically out of workforce that could support it. Yeah, 600 workforce for a logistics district? God damn. So we're not getting any more population for quite a while. So we'd have to turn off existing buildings or something to get extra workforce. Yeah, and we're accepting as many people as we can, so not much we can do about it, I don't think. Just speed up time. Our extra building is done now, so we are now stockpiling extra materials. We are now stockpiling extra food. The new food district is up and running. We have 140 workforce, so we can do some... Oh no, we can't even do that. We need 300 to do frost breaking. God damn, we're really hamstrung by people. Alright, let's check this out. Sue Miller, number 12. Sue Miller. 12 years old apprentice. Spinning dog hair into yarn. Ouch! My finger! These fucking spindles. Mrs. Boss Lady keeps joking I'll fall asleep and get woken up by a prince. I don't get it. If a prince came near me, I'd rob him blind. Then make him do the bloody spinning. Bet it's alright. Gonna beat my record today. Strong, nice yarn. Auntie Mabel says if I can weave, I can work with her at the mill. I don't know what this accent is. Beats freezing in the fucking streets. Alright, family apprenticeship promises a better future for the children of the city. She's loving it now. She's not. She put the razors down. Picked up some yarn instead. Alright, let's speed it up. Colder season. Heat demand has been increased. Now, the question is... Aha! So we did go over the stockpile. That's good. We went up to 32,000. Now we're draining it. So, not by much, but technically we wouldn't have had that 1,000 extra, so that's good. So the heat stuff is totally fine for now. The generator is just coping and keeping up with the drop in temperature. We're a little low on shelter. We need another housing district. I wonder, could we build that? We can't build anything because we have a lack of people. An old enemy. Steward, it was only a matter of time. We had an unusually long streak of mild weather, but now meteorologists are clear. There's a familiar drop in air pressure at high altitudes. A whiteout is coming. The wind will cause extreme cold and the clouds will blot out the sun. Without shelter and ample fuel, our people will be at mortal risk. We have to prepare. A whiteout arrives in 80 weeks. Heat demand will increase greatly during the whiteout. 80 weeks, 180 weeks. Yep, 190 weeks is when it seems like it's going to happen. So we need ample storage of coal, hopefully. And then we'll throttle the generator and pop it into overdrive and hope for the best. Alright, they know it's happening as well. A whiteout is coming indeed. Just trying to think what to do now. With the workforce so constrained, I'm just basically trying to think, what could we... We're building up a stockpile of materials, so we could power down an entire district. Now, does the fuel depot utilize people? Let me just check. Right, so we've just gone under the 30,000, so I'm going to turn off the fuel depot. So that's giving us back some workforce. I'm going to turn off the mechanized sawmill, just for a little bit, so we can put the workforce to clearing some ice and getting other things ready. So we're now going to be eating from our stockpile of materials just for a little while. But that should be okay once we are, once we have other things set up, we can turn it back on and we'll be okay. I guess being able to turn on and off resources at will is super important. So just going to also go... Frost breaking here. Damn, yeah, look, we can get this tile. But nothing else. Oh, that was so badly built by me. But anyway, that'll be the way station kind of set up for us. That's such a waste of money, because it's 40 heat stamps either way. So whatever thing I just did there, I put myself in a corner where we can only get one tile. I do apologize. It's a mistake on my part. Alright, anyways, what do we got here? Dr. Roberta Newman, 27, a chemist, frightened by the growing presence of the ice bloods. The city is changing. We started a family here. We bore children. We toiled against the hardships like everybody else. But now these ice bloods, they walk around telling people what to do, what to think. What they spout, though, is utter folly against everything that made us. We will not have it. The fate of our children is at stake. We will chart the path for our city. So the Technocrats have formed in opposition to the ice bloods. 604 machinists became Technocrats. Okay, so the Technocrats... Tech-minded and calculating people recruiting those who have a cold and rational argument. Their manifest. Number 1, progress. Machines, automation, and technology is the only path to move beyond survival into prosperity. 2, equality. Simulations prove that equality of all citizens is the only model that does not ultimately lead to collapse. And number 3, reason. Everything can be solved through a rational argument. Reason should guide us through changes we require. They want community service, city development effort, contagion prevention, supported quarantine, and childhood mandatory schooling. That's the only one I'm familiar with. We haven't looked at the other two. So community service and contagion prevention. Alright, let's check it out. So for the contagion prevention, enforce no common rules. They want supported quarantine, right? So contagious people will be placed into quarantine. The city will provide them with extra food rations to speed up their recovery. Disease is significantly decreased, but shelter availability per capita is slightly decreased. So you can only really do it if you have good shelter or extra shelter. And then the other one is an infection badge. Oh my god. Contagious people will be required to wear a specific badge that allows others to limit their interactions with them if they deem it appropriate. Disease is decreased and tension is slightly increased. I can imagine so. Supported by the Ice Bloods. Yeah, I'm not liking... Excuse me. I'm not loving the Ice Bloods, gotta be honest. And I look at the portrait there of the guy wearing the thing around his neck. Holy crap. The artwork, man, love it. Alright. Community service was the other one. So they were in favor of city development effort. Materials output per capita is increased. So right now, we have expedition support. We're helping the expeditions at the moment. Which actually doesn't really make any sense anymore because we're not exploring. But we're trying to get more people out there. We want to. So we can't. Maybe we could flip-flop it really quickly and appease one of them and then change it later. I don't know. We'll leave it as is. I think something else will need to be passed. We really need to get population growth going. We need, like, incentives, basically, for that. So it says that the generator upgrade and the autonomous heater, they're not available in this preview. So the temperature's going to drop, but there isn't seemingly much we can do about boosting heat. Alright, I've decided not to pass any law or idea for now. I'm going to think about it, because, again, these can really be saved up and be utilized when one of these groups starts getting a little antsy, a little unhappy. The counter to that in this game, though, compared to the previous game, would be that if I did pass these laws, we could build them up to the point where we can actually get things from them. So, for the Ice Bloods, if we make them happy, we could then send them on a hunting trip and they'll bring back food for us. The Technocrats, if we make them happy, they can assist our research. So there is reasons to not just sit back and try to fix their problems, but actually try and make them as happy as possible, as much as you can, in order to kind of extract things out of them. Similar to how we got the money out of the foragers earlier. They can also give stuff back too, by the way, so kind of interesting. We can improve their relations if we just put that money back into them, almost like a loan, and then get it out later again. Now, we've done our frost clearing here, but I wanted to kind of keep doing that for a little while until we get more population coming in. I think pushing out towards the coal district here might be a good idea. Just to have it ready. Right, so I'm just frost breaking now all the way out towards the coal deposit that's out there. Not that we're going to get it like immediately or anything, but just have that open and ready to go, seeing as we're sitting kind of being a little idle while I'm waiting on population to grow. And we've turned these guys off for now. Once that's done, we can actually build extra districts and just power them down. Just have them ready for the population that will move in, such as having extra housing and stuff, because we are slightly low on shelter now, so that's going to be a slight problem affecting some people. So we'll just speed up, so that should be just about cleared. So we're cleared up to there. So now we'll go with another housing district. Requires 200 workforce to keep it going, actually. Alright, so if we get too close to this side, I probably did build that a bit too close, actually, thinking about it. But we'll just wrap the district around like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They're pretty far out, but I don't think it matters as long as they're bordering all the way up to the generator. It's sort of like we have the technologies that we had in the previous game, so it's like, yeah, they kind of just are able to feed heat all the way out now, right? At least that's the logic that I'm employing. Unlike setting up the generator where there's nothing around there. They have to, like, build everything, but you can kind of take it as read now that all the technologies from the previous game have been applied and time is just simply moving forward. We have to enter the age of oil. Alright, good. That's done. So you can power down a district, can you? Yeah, you can. You can turn it off, tell people to move out. It's interesting, actually. Building that housing district has put more pressure on coal because I guess the demand for heat is there. It's an interesting trade-off thing because we were only lacking a little bit of shelter, but now we're kind of lacking a lot more coal. We're drawing 100 from the stockpile every day, so it's going to last 34 weeks before it runs out. So we do need to actually build up more coal. Really, what I'm struggling with is more people. You know, we just need more people, don't we? Seems that way. We're building up the stockpile for food, so I suppose we could turn off food if we really wanted to. That seems to be pretty handy right now. Alright, what do we got? Abe Chambers, 90, former shipwright, longing to join his wife in the beyond. 90 years old, 90 summers, well, winter's more like. I've had a good life, I guess. Well, I've had a life, anyway. Not everyone in the old Queen Heath crew can say the same. I'd always thought I'd be sharing Milady's grave, but now Pete's pressuring me to donate my body to the city. Apparently them doctors are using dead folk and skinning to fix the... Oh. Using dead folks' skin to fix up frostbite or something. Can't they leave me alone? Haven't I been through enough? Even when I'm dead? The lack of a law regarding regulating funerals is causing tension in the city. Alright, well that's sort of... It's pushed me in a direction, hasn't it? In some ways. So into society, funerals, ceremonial. Trust loss from resulting deaths is decreased. I think harvesting. I think we gotta go with that. Because right now, we're trusted. And on my watch, nobody dying. Other than just old age. Yeah, so a small step towards reason, damn it. Let's propose it. There's 24 people for it, and 15 against. Let's negotiate on this one. Let's see what happens. So... The Icebloods won't negotiate, it's just against their worldview, and the Technocrats as well. If we look at who's for it, it's almost an even split, and against it, almost even split, but all the Icebloods are against this, and all the Technocrats are for this, but it's such a small amount of both, it's really all down to the Foragers and the Machinists in the middle. So, the Foragers will be more likely to be against it, right? You would think, although it just says actually they're pretty equal. 30 of them are hesitant, and 30 of them are hesitant for Machinists as well. So, it could be either. So we can kind of guarantee a lot more votes from the Machinists, and we like them. Or I like them. So, let's go with the Machinists. I'm going to say that I want you to vote for it. And, we could fund projects. That's their terms. Bio-waste drum hothouse. They want us to demolish that. That can't be right. Isn't that what they wanted? Oh no, that's from the... Foragers, yeah. Or a policy. City development effort. Everyone must support the extraction work in an effort to gain more resources. It's kind of weird. I don't know if this would be an exploit or not, but let's just see if we can game it. Let's just see, because it's a demo. But we can fund their projects for 246, and if we request funds, we get 246. Let's see if they've thought this through. The developers, I mean. Alright, so we're going to go into the council. Economy. Society, funeral rules. Right, so we're going to do the harvesting funerals. The Technocrats support it. We're going to negotiate with the Machinists and say that I want you to vote for it, and we'll give you money for it, okay? We'll fund your project. Let's vote. So 56 or 4 straight off the bat.
The delegates have spoken.
So the law has been passed. We will harvest that old man. Although he's so old, I don't know what you can really get from him, but to donate, to anyone else. But maybe, I don't know. I suppose it's so early, 1918, maybe they can just learn something from it. Now, having done that, they want me to donate. Our promise to the Machinists is to fund projects. So let's do that. Our promise to the Machinists has been kept. Relations has improved, and trust has risen. We have integrity. But I can now just request funds and get that money back. So they've given me the money back, and they're still happy with me. Well, I don't know about that. Found a little workaround, didn't we? Not trying to game it, try to get immersed, but I was too curious to know if that would work. And the fact that they're still favorable means it's even more broken than I initially thought. Oh well, I'm gonna leave it for now. Obviously not redoing that or anything, but interesting. I'll try not to game it in future, but it's interesting that you can do that. That needs to be looked into for sure. Alright, so we still have, different technologies or ideas that we could be developing here for the economy, the society, maybe the housing block, or something to bring people in. Work compensation. Resource production efficiency is increased. Trust will rise. Equal pay or efficiency bonuses. So interestingly, we could have built subsidized housing blocks or dense housing blocks within a district rather than building up a new district that's after... It has housed people, but it has significantly increased our heat demand. So I'd kind of like to do something like this. 1 heat stamp income, 100 workforce is required, you get 10 shelter, and 5 demand for the building. This one actually increases disease, so I like the idea of doing the subsidized one. Again, it's the Technocrats that are offering that one up. These just have standard housing blocks. They don't do anything. But these are the Technocrats and the Ice Bloods are the ones that have something interesting going. So I'm going to do that then. We're going to go with the subsidized housing block and try to build that in. And then we can actually turn off a district until another family arrives. Something I didn't really think about as well, but we could have just expanded a district rather than building an entire new one. We'll need that for the building slot anyway, so let's do it. That should provide more shelter. Warmer season, heat demand is decreased. Nice, so we're stockpiling coal yet again. And we have 300 people, so what we could do now is build that way station. Can't we? Logistics, it needs 600 workforce. Damn, we only have 300. Alright, so keep clearing out the tiles then. We're frost breaking. Because if we have money and a little bit of workforce and we're waiting for people to grow, we might as well do that. By the way, I was wondering, could we just do that again, no? Request funds? It's too soon to do this action on this community. I feel like that should be a thing that happens when that happens. After you've done fund projects, it should probably say, like, you can't request funds so soon after donating or something, you know? And maybe the amounts should be different, too. So you have to pay them more than you otherwise get back. Still need to increase our goods, and our materials is offline right now. We're actually unfulfilling it, which is increasing our squalor slightly. Now, we're frost clearing right now, aren't we? Oh, we've done it already. That was super quick. Yeah, let's keep going, actually, then. Alright, we're frost breaking out that way because we want to get to this one, too. It's another old way station here, so we might as well just keep going and just plow straight across. It takes our workforce away for a little bit, but I think it's worth it. And then we'll reassign them back on the materials because materials is falling. So once it's unfulfilled, basically problems just mount and mount and mount. It says it's growing. Squalor is growing right now because of the deficit and by material scarcity. So we're doing this at the behest of that, but hoping that we can solve that, given a little bit of extra time. All right, so going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just go straight out in a line now. And then we'll go out this way as well afterwards. Alright, that's been done super quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, cool. Clearing that as well now. So that'll be the last thing we clear for a while, because that gives us access to every deposit we have now. And we still have pretty good money, so we'll put them back on the materials district as soon as they're done. Alright, the subsidized housing block has been unlocked. New building proposed by the Technocrats. We're going to now turn this back on. Oh, sorry, I turned the whole building off. So enable... We don't need the fuel depot, because we're not going to hit the storage, I don't think. The temperature's about to drop again. We'll turn back on the mechanized sawmill. So that leaves us now with only 40 workforce available. This is just telling me that little icon... I kind of wish you could get rid of the icon or something, but it's letting me know that one of the buildings is off right now. Now, something else we've been doing is we've been stockpiling food, so I suppose what we could do is we could get the workforce off the extra food, save on the heat as the temperature's about to drop, burn through, hopefully, the stockpile that we have, and start building up the logistics district out this way, so we can actually send out another team. Alright, that's the plan. So ultimately, our job is to get out of here. Squalor is still growing, actually, by the grinding coal mine and by the mechanized sawmill. Unwanted destiny. The family apprenticeship. Steward, a father has come out to our offices with his son. They both ask you to hear them out. This boy is not cut out for a blacksmith, said the father. His knack is for words, poetry. I can bend steel, but he can stir souls. Please, let him be apprenticed under someone who can teach him to use his talents. This would be an exception from the family apprenticeship law, and a precedent. We need to amend the law to not cause an uproar. So we could relax the family apprenticeship law. Sometimes it might be necessary to let children work under who they want, rather than their family. Relationships improve with the Technocrats, they slightly worsen with the Ice Bloods, and tension is decreased, or we could stay firm on it. And trust will rise marginally per all communities. All communities, all communities. Relations will improve with the Ice Bloods. So it's interesting, but I kind of feel like this is better. Although we don't have any tension right now, so maybe we should just stay firm and leave it. Our tension bubble is at 0. So if it doesn't actually have any material effect in terms of we're not going to get a research benefit or something, then I suppose we just stay firm. Keep people happy, keep tension low. It's absent right now. I don't want to be you, Father. You need to understand, says Izzy Cox. People need to understand that in this world, heritage is all we have got, says one of the Icebloods. Right, our new logistics district is popping up. The balloons have been raised. Alright, so with the 10 extra teams now available, we can have a look around at where we can go. Unfortunately, though, everywhere is unsafe, or worse. And what that basically means is the amount of people you need to do it is increased. And there's also a risk they won't come back. And things can go wrong, obviously. So, yeah, we require 20 teams to go out that way, and pretty much 20 teams or 40 teams to go all the way out here. Slow to chart territory, but this one is plains, and it says it's safe. It only requires 10, so we'll go that way. It says we could possibly find some food. Safe territory, fast to chart, few Frostland teams required. A vast expanse of relatively low elevation characterized by flat or gently rolling terrain, with occasional plateaus and basins, poses negligible challenge for exploration. Alright, we'll send them out that way. Now, we have 10 teams out here. Remember, if we took them off coal, we could combine them and send 20 into one of the harder to reach places. So that's an option we could do, but again, it's kind of based on whether or not we can afford that. We're currently filling the stockpile again, but we don't have the workforce anymore to apply to the materials. However, we can now continue building, right? We can add on to the housing district. Subsidized housing. We need 100 workforce to be able to just build it and maintain it. Damn. Oh, I tell you what, actually. Okay, then. So this district that we just built for housing, we'll turn that off. That gives us back a lot of workforce. Now, we'll open up our buildings. We'll go to subsidized housing and pop a block in there. So, that takes less people, but should provide the shelter that we're otherwise lacking now. Sort of, and also less heat, saving on some coal. So it is a good problem. It just means that for a little while, people have to suffer the no shelter. A Technocrat, this is the way. Alright, we have this thing to keep track of up here. Oh, wow, that's the whiteout period. Oh my god. It lasts 30 weeks. Yikes. That's actually quite a long time. And, we're trying to stockpile coal, I guess. It'll last for 63 weeks. Okay, actually, that's pretty good. But we're burning... that number will change once we see how much we have to burn. Alright, let's go in here. Technocrats rallies... The Technocrats rallies build support. Stewart, the Technocrats have started gathering for periodic rallies supporting your rule. In a display of remarkable technical skill, they have rerouted district broadcasting systems to carry their messages. Their speakers fill the air with educational programs and prescriptions for rational living. Oh, I don't know. I don't like any of this. They explained how to tally up all your activities in a ledger and identify inefficiencies, said one resident. And it worked. I shaved 31 minutes off my daily routine. Wow. The Technocrats are suggesting several things they believe will improve the city further. Do you want to support one of them? Alright, so I just had to look at these 3 different options. So one piece of feedback that I would suggest to 11-bit here is that there's no way for me to kind of put this event away for a moment and have a look at what these really mean. These are basically, it's telling me like, you know, we're going to be pushing towards one of these laws, but I don't know what the other options are in those categories. So I understand that they're pushing for these 3. That's great. I don't even fully understand what liberated youth or mandatory crowding really means. I think I read that liberated youth is like, they're carefree, they don't have to go to school, they can kind of find themselves or something like that. Whereas I have no idea what mandatory crowding is, but machine-adjusted shifts sounds kind of okay. So should we go with that? Sure. So what this means is now we've basically got people preaching on our behalf out there. So what's happening right now is a rally. Factions can engage in rallies if they have positive relations with you and tension in the city is low. During rallies, they show their support for your decisions, celebrate the direction of the city, and propose the next steps toward a direction in line with their views. While rallies are in effect, the rallying faction periodically gains members, gains influence over districts that they spread to, will engage in positive events for the city. So it's a good thing, I guess, as long as you like the faction that's doing it or you're happy with the kind of direction they're pushing for. And I am. I like the Technocrats. They seem cool. Rallies slowly spread to other districts. However, they will mainly move into housing districts where the rallying faction can recruit new members and raise further support for your rule. Rallies will begin dispersing if your relations with the rallying faction becomes negative. So we don't want to just necessarily push them, I guess, right now, right? They're positive. We could have them assist research. Right now, we're not even researching anything. So I guess we don't necessarily need them to do that. But also, if we just keep them happy, they'll grow in number. Right now, they only account for 7%. I'm hoping that they actually take from the ice bullets and maybe the foragers, because they align kind of closely already with the machinists. But maybe they just become the other group. I don't know. We'll have to, you know, test it out and see what happens there. So we told them we'd research machine-adjusted shifts. So let's have a look. So inside of our survival category, we have worker shifts. We can see the little icon that's been promised to the Technocrats. So the Technocrats are basically... So this one actually has a little icon over it as well. But so does this one. Right, so the Technocrats, 7% of the city, machine-adjusted shifts. To put less pressure on workers, workplaces must keep machines powered around the clock and adjust working hours accordingly. Squalor is marginally increased, and workforce requirement is slightly decreased. Well, that's exactly what we want, but let's just have a look at some of the alternatives. Weather-adjusted shifts. To protect the health of the worker, workplaces must adapt working hours to the weather conditions. No. Heat demand is slightly decreased, and disease is slightly decreased. Resource production efficiency is slightly decreased. You think it'd be based on the weather, though, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Alright, we're going to go with the Technocrats, because that's kind of what we've promised, and we want to keep them happy. Develop the idea for free. And how long does that take? 7 weeks in total. So we could do the thing where we boost them if we really wanted to get something done. Can we take money from these guys yet again? No, not yet. It doesn't tell me when, but still says it's too soon. So the machinists and the Technocrats are loving me. And the good thing is that the Ice Bloods and the foragers aren't hating me. They're just neutral, so that's good. Now, have we arrived out to the plains? They're searching the area right now, I guess. Okay, cool. So just to re-familiarize myself with what's going on, we have built that extra subsidized housing block in here now. And we can actually see what I assume are a bunch of people milling around outside of it. It's actually kind of hard to tell what they are. I don't know if they're people or not. We have 35 shelter and 60 heat demand in there. God, it gets so loud. In this one, 25 shelter. And this one is currently offline. So we have met the shelter demand for everyone by building a building, and that's freed up our workforce a little bit too. So that's good. Managed to handle that okay. It actually means that we could put on the fuel depot, right, if we wanted to, because it's only 100 people I think it requires. Oh, you can't have both on. Yeah, interesting. Okay, I was wondering what would happen if it would just go into a deficit, or would it even let me turn it on? Alright, so we'll have to leave that off. So what are we lacking? Let's just do another count of what's going on. We're currently drawing from the stockpile of food, and we're not meeting the demands for goods at the moment. There's a little plus sign down here by the laws. Let's see, I don't know why that is. In the rule category. By the way, seeing the screen go black here, it's quite nice. People have mentioned in the comments of the previous video, they were like, oh man, I really hope they had a dark mode. I kind of agree with that. As much as I really like the clean UI, that is a flashbang of white. You're hitting your screen. And you know, gamers, PC gamers, we don't want to necessarily have our eyes blown out like that. Because we're so close to the screen. So, yeah, I really do feel like the inverse, and you can see what the inverse would look like, is much, much cleaner on the eye. So hopefully you can maybe adjust that in certain parts. You know, I don't mind it a little bit. The UI up here being white, I'm actually okay with and stuff. And you're going to have snow on your screen, but just that big menu is, really hits you hard. So what's the heat situation right now? 570. And the whiteout is going to be in 30. Yeah, so I guess the other issue would be right now that we could maybe do with having more coal on the go and storing up more, knowing that it's about to hit. But the question is, could I turn off materials and get building another district up here just to harvest coal quickly? I mean, I think it might be worth it. So we'll turn off this building. That's 1,000 workforce back. We had a decent stockpile of materials that we can kind of churn through now while we're doing some building. Oops, sorry, wrong button. While we're doing some building again for extraction. So let's get the ball rolling on that. You know what? I don't like going out in that direction because it's getting too close to some of the parts of the city that I like. So we'll just do a little frost breaking. Again, maybe we could be better at this. I'm so bad at this. Go out that direction. How about that? Alright, so we'll do the frost breaking first, then we'll build the district. So that can get done fairly quickly. Alright, that's done. And now extraction district. There. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. Alright, so we'll have 2 coal districts on the go now. As well as the coal that's coming in from off map. Which, by the way, how much of that is left? We're down to 83,000. So we've already consumed 100,000. So 59 weeks are left. Shipping by road. Now, oh! I just thought of something. When the whiteout hits, I don't think these guys are going to be able to bring this stuff back in. I think that's going to go offline. So we want to really bring in as much as possible right now. That's why it's probably a good idea setting up the second district here. 1,808. Oh my god, we just got tons of more people moved in. Just like that. Boom. Alright. Reactivate these buildings then. We can activate them all. The fuel depot is on. Well, we don't need the fuel depot until we actually have the stockpile. Alright, the promise to the Technocrats have been kept. They're delighted you kept your word. They now look upon your rule. Again, they love me. Improved trust rises. Oh, right. The semicircle actually goes out the other direction. I didn't even know that. That's cool. So now they are in supporting. Opinion on the city direction marginally increased by the support for progress, for equality is significantly increased. They love that. It's decreased because they don't really like the city favoring tradition. And the relations scale, favorable to supporting to devoted. So we have them on the second tier of positive, which is pretty good. Ah, so having just got that research done, they've immediately put it to the council because we promised it to them. So it's straight. I didn't even get to choose this, but it's gone straight for voting. So the machine adjusted shifts. For it, 30. Against, 39. So this is interesting. If we want our Technocrats to be happy, maybe we'll have to do a little more negotiation. Or we could pressure the delegates by using the trust that we've earned. But I don't want to mess with that before a storm. So let's negotiate. I'd like this to go through. I want the Technocrats to be happy. Plus, I'm also happy about reducing the workforce requirement in places. So the machinists are open to negotiation. The foragers are partially open. So who's against this? 32 foragers are against it, and 7 of the Ice Bloods. The Ice Bloods will not vote no matter what. So that's quite interesting. You've got like 2 radicalized groups and 2 kind of more regular groups. It's like the extremes, right? The Technocrats and the Ice Bloods must be the extremes of those 2 other groups. And they just... That's interesting because as they grow, then you're putting yourself in a bit of a box because you can't then kind of negotiate with them on certain things. It's interesting. You almost don't want to grow these groups, although I'm sure they give you benefits. Anyways, sorry. I'm just like enjoying everything, learning everything as it stands right now. So... we have 31 hesitant, 11 foragers, and 20 machinists. I kind of think we don't need to promise anything here. And we just got an influx of population. So you know what? We didn't promise them that the law will pass. We just promised them that the idea will be researched. So I don't think they'll be upset. It's not my fault if everyone doesn't vote. But we can always put it back to the floor in another 10 weeks. So let's just let them vote as it stands. So they're up against it, but they have a decent amount. They have more machinists on their side. 20. So all they need for the vote is 1 forager to vote for them. And they'll get it. But they, you know, that might be unlikely.
The votes are in.
Oh, 48 to 51. What's up with that though? Oh, you know, yeah, we're short 1 person. Did someone abstain? I mean, not that it matters, but it's supposed to be 100. But law rejected. They didn't get it. But they don't mind. It's not my fault. We did everything they, you know, that we said we would. Hey, the windy path has been, or sorry, the windy path. Did I say the windy before as well? I probably did. The windy path. Yeah, there she is. All right, so we can now click this. A ration bunker. The door to a bunker glinted in the snow, revealing a massive hoard of rations. 5 people are required. Let's have a look. 29,400 food is going to be sent back to the city, absolutely. And it's been done in batches of 70. 5 were required to be out there. Might as well do that because we can't go anywhere else anyway without taking people off the other coal or getting more people. Oh, we could have gone here at the plains. But let's just bring in the food anyway right now. So possible finding out in the plains is cores, but that requires 10 people. Yeah, so we'll leave it for a little while. After the storm hits, then we'll go back out. We'll just bring everything in at the moment. No, actually, hang on a second. Don't they need a trail, don't they? Yeah, 70's coming in from the ration bunker. I don't know why that is. Why this one needed one and that one doesn't. Because to me, like, they're the same, aren't they? They're both like little outposts. They're not colonies. I haven't established a food or fuel or materials colony. Yeah, a little unusual. By the way, we're halfway through the demo already. We got Daniel Ingersoll, 23, a maintenance worker, looking out a window. I won't kill myself after all. That's me every day. When I was growing up, I thought that nothing will ever change, no matter where we end up. That everyone dies alone in the end. It's how things are, and have ever been. But we should be better than that. We should help each other, that's what I think at least, and I've discovered that I'm not the only one. The city has made steps towards equality cornerstone. Interesting. So equality down here, I guess maybe it's hit its first little milestone or something? The old world died with all of its inequalities. Nobody should lay claim to vital resources, and in the Frost, all resources are vital. So week 82, passing except all outsiders and subsidized housing blocks has increased equality. We just gained some extra Technocrats. They're up to 10% now, at the expense of... It looks like the machinists, so it's not pulling from the eye splits. I suppose they're so polar opposite, you're not going to grab them until they're greatly diminished. Although I don't really know how we lowered the influence of a certain faction. It seems the foragers have gone down a bit, but that was probably just to go to the eye splits. Right, shelter is hurting again because of the new people that have moved in. But the new people, it also means that we can also turn back on this housing district. That's a big significant climb of heat, though. I'd rather just stockpile the coal for a while, so you could just sit out of the shelter for a little bit. Sorry, guys. Just gonna have to deal with it. The other thing we could do is expand the housing district one more time and add in another subsidized housing block, and that would probably be enough. We're lacking 23. What does the housing block give us? 10, so it's not enough. We really do just need to activate another housing district. It's just 70 heat, man. That's a lot. Although, to be fair to them, they are working the coal again. I'll tell you what, I'm going to prioritize coal first, but we'll see if we can do both. So extraction, another grinding coal mine. Now, do we have enough money for this to be turned on and people? We do, actually. So there you go. You have your housing, you have your extra coal. We're just lacking goods right now by 18. So for that to be boosted, we'll definitely need to start researching something for that, actually. So down in the goods factories. So there's the two types of buildings, right? The calibrated or the refurbished. So the machinists, again, with the less workforce requirement, which is so nice, and you get 30 goods out. You get 30 goods out either way, but one of them has massively reduced heat demand, and I feel like we're struggling for heat. So we'll go with the foragers on this one, and I'll specifically go with the foragers. I don't know if that makes much of a difference rather than the ice bloods. I don't think it makes much of a difference, but this says adaptation. This will say, you know, merit and tradition. I don't want any of that right now. I don't think I do. So I'm going to click it for the foragers, and there's a bigger portion of them anyway, so maybe that'll make them happy. So we'll develop the idea for 50. 13 weeks. Alright, we sped up time. Council in recess for another week. And we still have a little bit of time to go before the storm. Oh man, alright. The rallies are still going on, people are loving us. The Technocrats anyway. And it looks like 93 machinists have joined Technocrats again. Okay, cool. We're up to 11% now with them. Hopefully this doesn't all bite me in the ass eventually. Because we can't, like, get them to change their minds about something. Assist the research. We could have that going on now. If you want to cash it in a little bit. They should be still rallying for us. They utilize their cognitive machines to greatly accelerate our research. And we are researching right now. And it doesn't worsen relations, actually. So, yeah. Technocrats evolve research. It's been temporarily increased. 7 weeks left now. I think it might have shaved maybe 2 weeks off, so maybe it's like a 10 or 20% increase. Alright, nice. The output of coal is... Oh, we've actually just hit our stockpile. So what we'll need to do then is activate the fuel depot. So now the stockpile can go up to 60,000. It'll be filled in 24 weeks. I was going to say the attack is in less than that. But it's not. It's not an attack, first of all. It's just the weather is changing in 25 weeks. So this is actually basically perfect. We'll hit full stockpile right before the whiteout. Alright, speed up time. And we're bringing in that extra food, which is also full right now. Oh, no, it's not full. Sorry. It's just even. We're not stockpiling, but we're not spending it either. Asking nicely didn't work. Time to stir up some trouble, says Sadie Sanderson in Iceblood. I don't like the sound of that. Protest, people, for our and our children's sake. Oh, the Icebloods, man. They're getting miffed. Why would you be getting miffed, though? Look at it. Everything's great. They're skeptical now in terms of relations. I guess they're just unhappy to see how well the Technocrats are doing. I don't want to click that. Let me see. Can we afford to turn on this district? No? The food. No, it's 600 requirements. So we'll need another population buff before we can do that. I was just hoping to stockpile even more food, but I guess we don't really need to. We have a little bit in the stockpile, and we should be... I don't think our hothouses stop working when the temperature drops. Right, let's check this out. Damn, look at that guy. He's got his chest out. 7% of the city, but man, they're making a ruckus. Icebloods begin protesting. I told you we shouldn't have clicked it. Steward, the Icebloods have been growing skeptical towards the direction you lead the city in. Now, they decided to protest, blocking all activity in the district. Oh shit, which district is it? We'll have to check that. This city is changing, and for the worse. More decisions like this will endanger everything we stand for. They demand you repeal, accept all outsiders. They will keep protesting until you respect their demand or force them to disperse. They also dislike the subsidized housing block. Harvesting funerals and mass-produced goods. Yeah, they have a few things they don't like. But can't we just weaken their amount, no? Can we not get rid of these guys? If we ignore them, what happens? Protests will disperse if you improve the relations to neutral, or we could repeal that law. You'll have 20 weeks to keep the promise. The protests won't spread during that time. Others may become agitated by this promise. Damn, one thing I'd like to see is how much money do I have, because then I'd know if I could maybe ignore and just bribe them off. But I can't actually even see my own money. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to promise that. We're going to handle this in some other way. So no. Foragers are joining the Icebloods. They've gained 8%. Now, what just happened, by the way? Because we've got a bunch of people free. Is that because this district is now offline? So that's a district that makes food. Okay. Have your little protest. It's switched off because of the protest, right? Disabled. Protest in progress. But we have another district. So suck on that, Icebloods. Yeah? That's just another way of basically sorting out the problem. But it's not, because this is never going to go away until we make them happier. However, we do have 250 gold, actually, or heat stamps. So we could fund their project. So by giving them 75, our relations will improve. So how much better is that? Publicly announce your support for the faction. It'll grow their numbers and gain another 6 seats in the council. We'll just give them a fund. Here you go. You having problems? Look, fund your own projects, yeah? Look after yourselves. We're not against your ideas, necessarily. But, you know, there's only 8% of you. We can't do everything you want. So there you go. The protest begins collapsing. Bribes. That's what we like to see. Your relations with Icebloods improved enough that they don't feel inclined to protest anymore. Easy. Ongoing protests. Steward, if you don't want to negotiate with the protesting faction, guards can disperse them. However, if you improve relations, the protests will cease. To this end, you can fund their projects, etc., etc. So obviously we've just done that. That was just coming up from before. I love that the rallies were taking place right next to the protests. You can kind of see them milling around the little area there. But it should be dispersing now. We don't have to protest anymore. Now, I wonder, can you grant them funds again, or do you have to wait a while? Yeah, you have to wait a while, so you can't just completely get yourself out of a hole. Finish the protest! We don't need it anymore! Nice, we can see it, yeah, just dispersing. Didn't get bad at all. It'll be totally fine. More machinists are joining the Technocrats, they're loving it. Grant them more seats in the council. So cool. So something that we could do, and we'll just be wrapping up the episode now before the storm hits. What I thought we could do is have a look at the council. And basically, we can have a full-on zoom-in sesh. And we can click on these various groups now. We can see someone who has their feet up. Can you believe it? What is this, the UK Parliament? Who is that? It's Irving Gardner. A conservationist, an Iceblood. Yeah, typical Iceblood. Likes to fly kites during snowstorms, confuses his lefts and rights, and opens up after exchanging tales of exploring the Frostland. What a waster. What about this guy? So these are all the ice splits here, basically. So we've got one in a hot debate right now with some of the Technocrats. Let's see what he's saying. Nathan Hopkins spent childhood eating stone soup and never complained. Plays football after work and opens up after a few bawdy jokes. And we have a Technocrat here then that we can look into. Citizen Sutherland, a technologist who is a Technocrat, hosted an invention fair to scout promising youth, often thinks about being a brain in a jar. Struggling to maintain a lie about who actually wrote her dissertation. Interesting. Technological progress is the only path to not only ensure survival, but build prosperity. That's who we're going to be leaning towards. Faux show. And seeing how that works out for us, I guess. Alright guys, that's going to have to be it. I feel somewhat bad that I'm actually handling this, like, fairly decently. Because it's much more fun when things are falling apart, as a viewer, I guess. But a storm is on the horizon. But we've dispersed, you know, we're dispersing those protests. I would say that where I'm really lacking is that we're not exploring nearly enough. One of our goals is to explore 50 pieces of territory or whatever out in the world. And we've done 5. And we're over halfway through. So we're obviously way behind on that. We haven't set up any colonies or anything. So hopefully maybe we could do that. Once this storm whiteout lifts and the temperature raises again, maybe then we can venture out and get a bit more proactive that way. Alright, well that'll have to be it. And it should be worth mentioning, it's not like I'm doing amazing or anything, but I did a trial run of the game before playing, right? And I lost. It all fell apart. If you saw the footage at the beginning of the first episode, the very beginning where the city's in a storm and everything's falling apart, that was all like how it all collapsed, basically. So on this second run, now understanding things and being a bit more cautious and pausing time a bit more, I feel like I've just gotten a bit better. But yeah, I might look into maybe doing a stream or something where we play on hard and really challenge ourselves. Alright, anyways, let me know actually if you'd like to see that, and we'll do it. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.